the number one is going to be guitar pickups. And that is, we tend to get this, as guitar players, we get this myth. We've been sold on uh, basically this feeling like, um, like keyboard elves take these great pickups and back to their lair and they sprinkle pixie dust on them, and that's what makes these certain pickups so voodoo and so great. Um, the actual truth of the matter is there's not really that many different pickups out there. Um, Although technically, of course, if you go online and you search pickups, there's about a million different pickups out there by hundreds and hundreds of different pickup manufacturers. So when I say that, what I mean to say is, out of let's take just the humbucker for instance. Out of the humbucker pickups, there are really only a few true different pickups out there. For the most part, uh, all the pickup companies claim that they're, and I'm speaking of aftermarket pickups for the most part, um, they claim that their pickups do all these different things, and we've been conditioned that we're kind of like kids in the fact of you can condition a child to believe whatever you raise him to believe. The ideologies that you basically um, teach to your kid at an early age defines how he basically thinks. So if you teach your kid from an early age that there's no real discernible difference between a generic product manufactured in the same plant as a name brand product, then he won't apply those mythologically greater things that happen just because this label is sewed on this run of jeans as opposed to this label being sewn on that run of jeans. You know what I'm saying? But it's all in how you teach them. As guitar players, it's the same thing. Uh, if you learn up knowing the physics behind how a pickup is manufactured, how it's made, and what goes into changing the tone, then some of the things that you read in these product descriptions, you just glaze over because you know that, well, it's a selling point and some of it's not really true. There's no preamps built into regular passive pickup technology. So a lot of the tonal things that they claim that one pickup does over to the other is nothing more than what naturally happens depending upon how many wraps of wire are put around the magnet. And it's really quite that simple. There's only a couple of other things that go to change the tone of that pickup. The type of magnet used, and if it has adjustable pole pieces, the way that the pole pieces are adjusted in order to give more signal from the bass side of the guitar as opposed to the treble side of the guitar. But a lot of the other things that the pickups claim is window dressing. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but it's really kind of true. I mean, with the with higher output, automatically comes tonal changes in the pickup, but it's kind of automatic. And with lower output pickups, obviously comes a different tonal characteristic, but that's really kind of across the board. Uh, so when you're really buying a pickup, speaking like of a humbucker pickup, the really the three major things that make this pickup sound different are the type of magnet used, the gauge of wire, and how many windings. And that's it. That is completely it. And so when you're online looking at the difference between this $200 Holy Grail pickup and this $60 pickup, think about what's really going into the manufacture of the pickup. Because first of all, pickups are an inexpensive thing to manufacture. So there is well over 100 to 200% markup in what some of these pickup companies charge you for the pickup as opposed to what it's actually costing to manufacture the pickup. And like I said, now where that changes, of course, there is a difference in the sound of a humbucker versus a single coil versus a mini humbucker versus a P90. But what I'm saying is there's not a lot of differences between, let's say, this humbucker if the output is 9K with a Onico 5 pickup, and this humbucker with an Onico 5 pickup and 9.5 output. Tonally, they're going to be very similar pickups, uh, depending upon how many wraps of wire go around um, the magnet. But with them both being 9.5, you can pretty much ascertain that the same amount of wire was wrapped around each one. So they're going to sound they're going to sound very similar. Now, change the magnet, and the tone may shift a little, but I fear that it doesn't really shift to the point of what you think it's shifting to. Yeah, so I mean, the biggest marker, or the biggest difference, or the biggest defining thing to the difference in tone and pickups is typically the output level or the resistance, and it's just true. Um, I've heard a lot of people when they make this argument compare pickups to microphones and say, oh, lots of different microphones sound different. Yeah, microphones sound different. There is a little bit of difference in the technology, though, between a guitar pickup and a microphone. Components change quite noticeably between different types of microphones, whereas in the parts and different types of pickups don't really change that much. Now, when you get those huge differences in pickups is when you change the technology altogether. Now, when you go from a passive pickup to, say, an EMG pickup, yes, some of the tonal differences that EMG claims are actually there. But then EMG pickups also have a preamp built into it. Very small, but there's a preamp in there that helps to shape, to actually shape the EQ of the pickup. But that's the advantage of active technology, is it has that ability. And there's also some compression added and other things. So that makes for a difference. So there is a huge difference if you're talking about the tonal characteristic between, or the tonal possibilities between a passive pickup and an active pickup. Because with an active pickup, you can do a lot more. You can pretty much taper the tone however the creator sees fit. Also, when you're looking at something like, let's say, like the newer active technology, like the Fluence pickups, which are using, I'd heard someone say before, it's like, oh, it doesn't even have any coils in it. It does have coils, but they're printed on a circuit board. So that's what makes it different. And once again, you're talking about completely different technology than a traditional pickup. But so, long story short on that is, of course, there are tonal differences between pickups, but the tonal differences are very few, meaning out of 1,000 pickups, there's not going to be 1,000 different sounds. I can't remember exact number of different magnets used. Off the top of my head, I basically know the difference between, Alnicos, and there's like 3 different major Alnico magnets, and then there's the ceramic magnet. And that's only 4 that I can remember, but I'm gonna round that up to 5 because I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of. So we're going to 5 different pickups, and there are different wiring gauges that are used, but for the most part, there's only 2 standard wiring gauges. So between and pickups usually fall within medium between low or vintage output, medium, and high output. So between all those options, yeah, it's like probably 10 or so out of those thousand are actually different sounding, and all the other pickups will probably fall within those 10 categories. You know what I mean? Just different names, different price tags, and different buzzwords attached to them. It's like, oh, this pickup does this is going to produce this much more bass than this pickup. But realistically, there's no preamp in the pickup, so all they're really doing is adjusting how many wraps of wire are going around the magnet, for the most part.